Hello, my name is Dr. Paul G. Varnas. I'm a chiropractor. I specialize in nutrition, and my practice has a focus on diabetes prevention and prediabetes reversal. We're going to give you some shocking information about diabetes and its prevalence in this country. Did you know that almost 1 out of 3 people in America are either diabetic or pre-diabetic? According to the CDC, 80 million Americans are pre-diabetic and 28 million are diabetic. For some reason, this doesn't generate a lot of fear, probably because it's a gradual disease. It can simmer for years, damaging the heart, kidney, eyes, and other organs. And then it shows up in middle age and is accepted by many doctors as a simple part of the aging process. The thing is, people are usually diabetic for years before they are actually diagnosed. We should be shocked and outraged. It's estimated that in the next 24 hours, 5,200 people will be diagnosed with diabetes, and over 800 will die from it, and almost 300 will go blind or have an amputation. And as you know, there are a lot of complications with diabetes, including heart disease, high blood pressure, nervous system damage, liver disease, and even Alzheimer's. Why is there an epidemic of type 2 diabetes? Well, there is a genetic component to diabetes. People have full control as to whether they get it or not by the choices they make and in their diet and in exercise. The core problem has to do with people's eating habits and the consequences that include excessive weight, especially abdominal fat, lack of nutrients as people eat junk. They eat junk and processed foods, and they lack exercise. It leads them to diabetes. You can see how our food habits have changed over a period of time, just with sugar and grain consumption. Almost a 40-fold increase with sugar alone. Wondering where all the sugar comes from? Well, here's a clue. It's our favorite additive. Just look at the typical foods people typically eat, and you'll see that they have high carbohydrates, especially refined carbohydrates, and the body doesn't know the difference between refined carbohydrates and sugar. Bad food habits induce stresses to the human body that promotes all kinds of diseases. Junk food not only does damage, but it also replaces the healthy foods that actually have healing ingredients, bioflavonoids, minerals, vitamins, and key ingredients to life. We're getting less nutrients in our diet, but our portions are going up. Caloric intake has increased way higher since the 1970s. Portion sizes used to be about half of what they are today. Obesity is on the rise. If you look at this chart, this gives you the number of overweight people, BMI over 30, in 1985. Okay, that would be 30 pounds overweight for a 5.4-inch person. You will notice, according to the color code of this, most of the states were under 10% with the number of obese people. Okay, this is just in 1985. And look at today. No state has an obesity rate below 10%, and most are over 25%. That's a shocking increase in obesity, and along with it comes diabetes and prediabetes. And on top of that, our healthcare system is not promoting prevention. We are waiting for disease conditions to set in, and then we manage those diseases. Experts are predicting America could go bankrupt with healthcare costs. We are already seeing the effect of the disease care system on companies and on individuals. The status quo is not sustainable, especially when the CDC is predicting that if nothing changes, out of all the infants born today, 1 out of 2 will become diabetic, and adults in the future. Diabetes is preventable, but there is no silver bullet. Let's analyze the progression of diabetes. As we said, for most people, it starts with bad eating habits that result in excess weight and nutritional deficiency. Over time, this leads to insulin resistance. which ultimately results in people noticing high levels of blood glucose resulting from defects in insulin production. Blood sugar increases as well as triglycerides and the bad cholesterol, LDL cholesterol. Years before people are diagnosed with diabetes, they're in a pre-diabetic zone. The crazy thing is that physicians will monitor elevated blood sugar levels and wait for people to become actually diabetic and then give them medication instead of dealing with prevention. What most people don't understand and what's not explained to them is that for 90% of the people who go on to conventional care or diabetic medication, complications are not prevented. So what is conventional care for diabetes and prediabetes? Some will be prescribed high blood pressure medications and or statin drugs. Once diagnosed as diabetic, people are put on certain diabetic medication and recommended an eating plan that is useless and in fact can even be dangerous for people with diabetes. These steps do not get the condition under control. Under 12% of diabetics being treated with medication have their blood pressure, blood sugar, and cholesterol under control. Of course, the simplest way to beat the disease is to prevent it. This was proven in a landmark study in 2001 that showed that prediabetes can be prevented from becoming diabetes with weight management, correct eating habits, and regular exercise. The easiest way to determine if you're pre-diabetic is to answer a questionnaire available with this presentation that will highlight the probability of prediabetes. So how can prediabetes reversal be accomplished? First, you need to get rid of abdominal fat because it drives the metabolic syndrome. Metabolic syndrome is high blood pressure, high cholesterol, high bad cholesterol, low good cholesterol, and high triglycerides. Metabolic syndrome is the result of insulin insensitivity, which is the result of poor diet and a lot of refined carbohydrates in the diet. Most people don't understand that fat cells actually cause inflammation, so a lot of pain, a lot of symptoms are caused by inflammatory chemicals being produced by the fat cells. People will then see immediate changes in damaging inflammatory chemicals released by fat cells when they're reduced by losing the fat. You need to have healthy food habits. Optimal eating, 3 times a day, eating fruits, vegetables, and fiber in combination with protein gives the body crucial amino acids and trace minerals to build muscle mass and you need to minimize the eating of junk food, which is void of nutrients. Have to take care of nutritional deficiencies. People who are pre-diabetic are often deficient in zinc, chromium, magnesium, are low in essential fatty acids and many other nutrients, including B vitamins. It is vital that you exercise, even if it's just a 20-minute walk each day. To make all this possible, a structured system needs to be used. My system works like this. I have people eat according to a meal plan that puts their body into a biochemical state to burn excess fat, especially abdominal fat. When you're burning fat, you don't have any hunger in between meals, and you use a nutritional snack to prevent any cravings between meals. The program differs slightly between men and women. We have 7 different meal plans. They're provided for 7 suggested breakfasts, lunches, and dinners in a way that people do not get bored with what they eat. If you don't like what's offered, you can always substitute. For instance, if you don't like 60 grams of beef and 35 grams of spinach for dinner, there's always something you can switch to. A 4-page symptom questionnaire is completed before eating plan is started, and the same questionnaire is completed at the end of 3 weeks. This helps us to pick the right kind of nutrients for you and help manage your program. There are 14 health conditions which we will evaluate. The results of the questionnaire may show 4 severe, 6 moderate, and 4 mild conditions. However, the challenge is to know the root cause of these symptoms, and they could be due to either bad habits, nutritional deficiencies, any chronic condition, or excessive weight. We have a way of determining this for you. Once you go on an elimination diet and lose excess fat, the changes and responses to the same questionnaire will change. And after 3 weeks, we'll have a great insight as to the root cause of your symptoms. The results, for instance, may change to 1 severe, 2 moderates, and 4 mild. To a trained specialist, this provides a wonderful insight into the root cause of your symptoms and a roadmap on steps that need to be taken to prevent diabetes and promote wellness. All of this information will be provided and explained at the end of 3 weeks, where an action plan is provided to cover. The action plan includes abdominal fat status and how much weight needs to be lost, blood sugar support if unhealthy eating habits are resumed, existence of potential food sensitivities and allergies. This is a big deal, and most health professionals don't look at this. We look into the possibilities of chronic conditions that may need attention. We correct nutritional deficiencies to keep chronic conditions from developing. And a host of other important wellness markers are explained. If the wellness markers are ignored, over time they will become a disease condition. A great example of this is diabetes. That is costing Americans $174 billion a year because people are waiting to become a diabetic instead of preventing it. So don't be the last one to jump on the prevention bandwagon. The greatest gift of health you can give yourself is to determine if you are pre-diabetic, and if so, take the required steps needed to reverse this dangerous condition before it is too late. And in the process, experience weight loss, increased energy, better sleep, and overall wellness. For more information, contact me, Dr. Paul G. Varnes, 773-519-0007. Look me up on the web, drvarnes.com, and schedule a free consultation.